Hey, welcome back to the Ages Variety Show. This is the Age, obviously, and as you can see today, I have a guitar on me. Yes, we are taking a bit of a detour from football, and we are going to play the guitar instead. Not all day long, but just enough to satisfy the cravings of those sweet, sweet sounds. Obviously, this guitar is a Yamaha, so you're going to see some cool shit. Anyway, today's really just a day to introduce the pedal stand and the overall setup of basically my guitar setup. And yeah, you're going to see some cool shit in there. So this setup, complimentary of the people that I live under, is my pedal setup. Yes, this is my pedal setup in which you have just heard. So yeah, what you were just hearing was a super chorus pedal. It's the one all the way to the right, the sky blue one. And appropriately enough, it does sound like the sky. So yes, the super chorus pedal is capable of multiple things. It seems weird in concept, but there is a lot about it that I find unique. For example, the rate and depth are kind of cronked up compared to its original chorus pedal model. It also has a equilibrium switch and a volume switch to control it. So yeah, let's see what it's capable of when everything is ticked to noon. And by the way, in terms of guitar speak, noon is actually when everything is set upright. So, what I was saying, do you know that there are actually two switches to the left of the rate and depth noises, or knobs? So, apparently, there is an equilibrium level knob, which I will stay on full, and the only thing that's going to be changing here is the equilibrium level. So, yes. When you flip that switch all the way to the left, the lowest note will sound something like this. And the highest note will sound something like this. But if you switch it the other way around, the lowest note will sound something like this. And the highest string will sound something like this. Big difference, right? Now, let's see what this sounds like on bridge pickup. So, I personally figured it better that this goes with neck pickup than bridge pickup, and you'll see why. My ears, right? I hope you all feel the same way. So, moving on to the next pedal. So next up, we have the Blues Driver. This Blues Driver pedal is the one all the way to the left with the darkish blue covering. So, yes. The Blues Driver looks fancy schmancy and all, but in reality, it's just like the other pedals. Sturdy, yet efficient. Economically, of course. So, yeah. This pedal is actually capable of doing two things depending on your pickup. It can produce a creamy, transparent overdrive, or it can produce that crunchy, yet warm distortion that some of you may be looking for. Yes, for that creamy, transparent overdrive, you need a neck pickup and setting the gain to about half, which will sound something like this. Now, there are other things you could do with this blues driver pedal that would make it super, super efficient, you know, when it comes to guitar playing. But for this purpose, when you set the gain all the way on high and you get a bridge pickup, it turns into a completely different overdrive altogether. You'll see how in a minute. So yes, with the gain set all the way to full, and with the bridge pickup, you could easily come across a sound like this. Similar to AC/DC. If you want, for a bonus effect, you can set the tone to 9 o'clock, which in guitar speak is technically referring to the knobs as though they were clocks. So yeah, you gotta sound something like this. Maybe something a little more like this. That's the blues driver pedal for you. And now, this pedal is actually a very classic one. The distortion pedal. Yes, it's a basic distortion pedal, yet, like this, it's the orange pedal, obviously. So, like this, half gain, half tone, you basically have a setup that requires a bridge pickup. And yes, I will play something for you, but in a minute. So basically, it's got the same controls as the blues driver, yet instead of a soft clipping like the blues driver has, the difference between overdrive and distortion is that distortion has a unique hard clipping. They make another version of this called turbo distortion, but this is the cheapest one I could find. So yeah. Bet you missed me. Anyway, so this distortion setting that I am currently on is called dirt. Soul dirt. Like, you get what I'm saying. Basically, it would sound something like this. Yeah, that's basically the setup for you. So this distortion setup is actually one of the most powerful distortion setups of all. It is frequently known as a fat bridge, but I kind of call it the rhythm because it's just so powerful. The distortion is set all the way, and the tone is set to around 1030. A little more on the bass side. So yes, I will play something for you right about... Yeah, now it sounds about right. Anyway, here comes some thrashing to you. That was pretty awesome. So yes, that basically explains the distortion pedal, and if you want to see more, you could always buy this kind of gear at the Guitar Center, Reverb. I personally like to use a combination of both, but you could also go to your local music store, which I personally support you doing. So no advertisements here, just a small suggestion from a friend of a friend. Anyway, so the final pedal that I want to cover before getting into the super duper awesome combos is the Metal Zone pedal. Yes, that is the black one, right next to the super chorus pedal. Anyway, there are actually 6 knobs, but it looks like there are 4. You want to know why? There are actually 2 knobs inside of 2 of the knobs. You got the level, the high and the low, right next to each other, inside of each other. You got the mids, but you also have the mid frequencies, varying on sound. And then you've got the distortion. With everything set to noon except for level, don't worry, this is very loud, set to 9 o'clock. Yes, I will play something for you. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, here's a little bit of Metal Zone for you. Here we go. Yeah, I know. The Green Day song is actually not supposed to be played on any pedal at all. Instead, it's supposed to be a combo of two amplifiers that are both set to some sort of natural gain. So yeah, you could buy 2 ones, but you have to set them differently. Anyway, moving on to the next thing about the metal pedal, as I like to call it. So yeah, back to what I was saying. If you crank the Metal Zone all the way up on the distortion knob, you'll get a sound something like this. Cool, huh? Anyway, there is something else that could be taken into factor, so bear with me. So yeah, this is a wicked awesome Metal Zone effect that I actually like the most. Scooped sound for lows and highs all the way, with the mid frequencies all the way back, but mids only at half. Let's see how it sounds. So cover your ears, people. So, yes, you just heard something I like to call rugby rock, and that's for Sophie Lloyd not, playing that specific song in the World Cup last year. Anyway, so that basically wraps up all the pedals. Now, let's get to the main goal of this, the infamous amplifier. Sorry about that. Anyway, so in guitar speak, natural gain is any gain that comes alongside the amplifier you have. This is just basic natural gain with the gain set to about 6, and, nothing spectacular with the mids frequency. Let's just play. So yeah, if you want to drop down a comment, you should really answer this question if you want to. Which pedal did My Natural Gain sound like the most? Anyway, that pretty much just wraps up the basic side effects, so the age is not signing off yet. You're going to hear some wicked awesome combos, but this is the official end of the show. So if you want to leave now, I bid you farewell to thee, and yeah. If you want to stay on, you'll hear some amazing combo, which I know most of you will. Anyway, I've actually gone into my data and see that most of you are not subscribed yet. So if you want to drop down and subscribe, I actually encourage you to. I also want you to drop down a like, a comment, whatever. But yeah, I'll list the combo right alongside me. So yeah, if you made it this far, the age is officially signing off. But before I do so, I want you to, give me a like, subscribe, drop down a comment if you want. Anyway, thank you for viewing. And listen, I want to provide quality, wholesome content to all of you that I enjoy creating and all of you enjoy watching. And that's a win-win. So yeah, the age, rocking and rolling all the way to hell.